And the next speaker is from the United States, Mike Wisnefski. And Mike Wisnefski, in my opinion, is an ambassador and a real innovator in the sector of wood products trade, with his great vision and readiness to bring the best practices to this industry. Mike, can you hear? Can you see?
I can hear you. Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes, I
The
can.
only thing, you can start my video.
Yeah. And where's your camera? We
Yep.
can see
Okay,
your
there we go.
presentation. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, Mike. Well,
Hello, everyone. I'm coming to you from Chicago. The sun's just coming up here, so I'm on a little different time horizon. But I'm going to quickly go through some of my experiences in starting a platform and kind of the challenges we have today and where we're headed. So quickly about me, I'm an innovator, problem solver. Been around for 28 years. I'd like to think I'm resilient and tough, and I've given some facts. We all have spouses or friends, and we know how tough that can be. I like to travel, I like to fish, and I like to be active. My current role is the founder of SDX Markets, which we'll talk about later, but I also founded MaterialsXchange. I was the first trader to walk onto the Chicago mercantile floor and go into the lumber futures pit with a computer. This was in 2009, which is kind of hard to believe, but at that moment they were still using paper and pencil to do trades on the floor. And I was in business development at a wholesale lumber distribution company here in Chicago. So is the supply chain broken? And the answer is no, it's not. In fact, it works. It works kind of just okay, just fine. But we can do better. The supply chain is using dated models, dated methods. So I say we can do better. This is today's reality. We think we're advanced. We've got mobile phones, we have laptops, but we also have a lot of post-it notes, and there's a ton of paper going on in our industry. So this is the kind of stuff that's happening. And we heard about it already from the previous presenters about the technology around sawmilling. What we haven't heard and maybe isn't as known is how much technology is at the other end of the supply chain, revolving around the construction end. And it's no short of amazing. I just came back from a conference where there's robots that are building homes in factories. And the two things about these ends of the supply chain that we need to know is that they operate only with good data, with good information, and it needs to be digital. Andy touched on it a bit, where when you have information passed by word of mouth, it can be suspect, number one, just in accuracy, but in authenticity as well. So consider that the ends of the supply chain are the areas where we are finding the most innovation, the most digitization to date. But this is possible. We, as the shepherds of the movement of the product and the shepherds of the transactions of the product, should be striving to have a digital environment so the ends of the supply chain can operate efficiently and in the manner with which they want to operate. So why should we change? That's a valid question. And the kind of easy, politically correct answer is, well, we have many different generations. And I would say that it's not, too much of a stretch to say the management of most companies falls on the left side of this picture. And does that generation want change? Does a 58-year-old manager who's making a lot of money, nearing retirement, does that person really have the initiative and the desire to risk a change? I think we all know the answer to that. But you move to the right side of this picture and you see the Gen Ys and even the Gen Xers who have the knowledge about digitization and have the knowledge about technology and can't find ways and angles to implement it in our industry. So yeah, we should change for the people. That's a feel-good way. But here's the real reason to change. Money. Straight up, we should change because you will make more money if you change and adopt technology. Time. Who doesn't want to be more efficient with their work and with their company and their workforce? And then the last reason is money. And a little tongue in cheek here, of course, but the reality is you and your company and your organization will excel and move ahead if you adopt change, adopt technology, adopt digital ways. I'm a big fan. This comes from a survey by McKinsey Group, a consulting firm here, or internationally. Today's buyers are more tech savvy. They are. They're more digital savvy. We know that. And you just look around. Everyone's spending more time on their devices. They're working remotely. They're in connection with their offices. So why shouldn't they be connected to their supply chain digitally and have visibility and transparency? So is change happening? Yes, it is happening rapidly. Oscar alluded to this, but look at the time horizon here. This is 2019 to 2022, and the number of buyers using social media, text, and mobile to research and evaluate suppliers is jumping dramatically. At MaterialsXchange, one of our most successful endeavors was doing live stream shows about market conditions. And we got yelled at a little bit by some of the people in the industry saying, you're giving away too much information. You're telling people too much. My customers, going back to what Andy said, people said, my customers, like they owned them. My customers are too informed. How insane is that? Like, we should have absolute transparency. You want your customers to be informed so they can run their businesses better. If they have a better business, they're going to end up buying more material, which is going to benefit you and benefit the industry. A lot of people have talked about, or the previous speakers have talked about marketplace and what its role is and why it's good. And this is a little bit of a busy slide, but when the marketplace sits in the middle and there's connectivity, there's actual digital connectivity from sellers' websites, back-end inventories, which are their ERP systems, which Pina had a great presentation on. When they're connected into the marketplace, that's connected to your buy side, their accounting and reporting systems, their tracking and control. That's true efficiency. A friend of mine is a large buyer here in the United States for a really, really big group of lumberyards. When he does a lot of buying, he actually has to spend one full afternoon entering orders. It's ridiculous. Think about this. The information about those orders is digital at his supplier, but they're not connected to him through a marketplace. So he has to re-enter that information. It should flow just seamlessly. The hexagon shapes here show functions, and the digital marketplace works very well for marketing, sales, fulfillment, obviously, and logistics, for procurement, for fulfillment and logistics. It is the answer. If it was wrong, the B2C, the business to consumer markets, would never have made it. Amazon wouldn't be what it is today. I will let people get the slide deck and go through this, but these are obvious reasons why digital marketplace can improve supply chains. But this is the number one: supply chain visibility. And it is a very hot topic. It's a very polarizing topic. And the other one, which I think is underappreciated appreciated is dynamic pricing. We hear about price lists going out and they're stale as soon as they've been distributed, they start to be stale. So let's jump to the hurdle. And that's what my talk is supposed to be about today. What is the hurdles for technological adoption in technological marketplaces? Well, spoiler alert, it's fear. The number one biggest blocker preventing digital marketplaces from being the norm is fear inside of an organization. Now, this is a really, really busy slide, and I appreciate that. But I want to point something out. And this was a survey done, and it was asking the CEOs and managers of companies and the executives where they see digitization. Is it an opportunity or is it a threat? And the number one factor of digitization that they found as an opportunity is the manufacturing process. And which makes sense, because when you can take a system and make it more resilient and make it have the uptime better, and not have to rely on human, because human error is more common than a computer making a mistake. Very easy to understand. The bottom of this, the biggest threat, is supply chain transparency. Now, I still have a somewhat difficult time wrapping my head around it, but why is it that we sit in this supply chain and we don't want our trading partners, we don't want our customers, our suppliers to have visibility into our businesses? Like, how can they help us? How can they show us their needs? How can we help them? How can the entire supply chain work better if we're hiding from each other? It would be like going to a dance and having the lights turned off. How could you find someone to dance with if the lights are turned off at a dance? Now, this slide comes from another article, which I highly recommend. I'm just going to bring it in quickly, from McKinsey, and it's Building Products in the Digital Age. It's hard to get smart. So what I want to emphasize here is that the hurdle to creating digital markets, to creating a digital supply chain, to having the free flow of information, is the fear that it's bad for your business. What I can agree to is that that's a true statement for certain players inside of the supply chain. And if your fear and the issue around your business is transparency, you've got a much bigger problem on your hands about your business model. And you should consider a new strategy, or at least a big strategy session, because what will happen and the change that will come down the pipeline, and I'm already seeing it, is the ends of the supply chain, the construction, the contractors and the producers are trying to get closer together. Andrew alluded to it, where the sawmills are getting into the distribution market in the UK. I do know that the sawmills, there's, example is Binderholz of Germany as well, has a US entity that is selling their product here. And that entity is selling direct to the end user. Another great reason for supply chain transparency, which once again Andrew alluded to, is the flow of information can reverse. It can go back up, and it allows the producers to make a product that is more relevant, more usable by the consumers. And that is good for the world, because it makes the efficient use of our natural resource go up. Okay, how to change. This actually is simple in theory. It is a challenge in implementation. Change starts at the top. You need to have executive sponsorship of innovation, and you need to culture a or foster a culture that trusts the initiative. You have to give the 58-year-old manager downstream the trust that he can put his neck out on the line, he or she can put their neck out and make a change. Change is promoted in the middle. That manager needs to feel, once again, safe that they can allocate the time, space, and resource for the innovation to develop. Lastly, change happens on the ground. It's the boots on the ground. It's in the trenches. This is where the magic happens. It's the team members that will drive the integration. They'll drive the adoption. They'll provide the feedback for continuous improvement, which is so important. And the team members, they're the people that are on the right side of the slide I showed earlier, the picture of people. They want this. They strive. They thrive. This is the way they live their lives. They want to have innovative products, innovative tools. They want an environment that they can excel in with the skill sets that they have built up in their short lives. Okay, I'm going to jump into a few companies here that have digital marketplaces and just talk about them. So the first one is Yesler, and I actually spoke with the CEO of Yesler 2 days ago about his platform, and he summed it up as they're providing the tools to individuals. They can be individuals inside of an organization to create a micro digital marketplace. It allows for communication between partners that happens digitally. When the conversation is digital, it's tracked and it's recorded. It's a good platform, and they're growing, and they have visions on improving, their product as it stands already, and moving to dynamic pricing, where the suppliers can work with their trusted partners and give their trusted partner, pull back the veil, show a little more transparency, let them see their real-time inventory. Let me move to the next one. Timberbase. I don't know a whole lot about this company, but what I do know that I found very interesting was that UFP, Universal Forest Products Industries, which is a publicly traded, it's a very large company, has bought them. So one of the challenges that we had when we started MaterialsXchange, of course, was the financial resource and building up the customer base to use it. With UFP pushing this initiative, we know they have the money and they have the business to give it a really good try. So I think this will be someone to definitely watch, but I don't know enough about them. Lastly, this is Kojo. They're actually outside of our industry, but a very close relative. They work with the commercial construction industry, and it's a platform and a software system that manages purchasing. And they start from estimating, where you say, I'm going to need, for this project, 5,000 light switches. And then they track, so I need 5,000 light switches. They're going to cost me $5 a piece. Then you end up tracking, how many did I buy? What did I pay for them? When did I buy them? And you can see how you do. And it also allows connectivity into your suppliers. So you have the channels where the invoices will flow without having to be emailed over. They can flow right into each other's systems. So this is another example of this is happening. Digitization is happening. Lastly, I'm just to touch real quick on what my project is that I'm working on, STX Markets. It's marketplace software for the industry. It gives the ability for automated real-time market prices using price feeds from the financial extended shipment times. If this is interesting to you, please come back to me. Lastly, what I'd like to talk about really quickly is the challenge we had with MaterialsXchange and kind of where things went wrong. And it's taken a few months since having left the company to really grasp what happened. We decided we were going to jump right into the middle and try to create price discovery, create a platform that had price discovery and true price transparency. And what I've learned, and that we've shown through this presentation, is the industry doesn't want price transparency today. But what I hope that I can imply or infer to you or let you know is that price transparency is good for everyone. Andy touched on it. It makes the industry better. It makes the world better because we can be more efficient. My last comment, and I don't have enough knowledge about this, is AI is going to be a massive, massive game changer. So keep your eyes open for AI changes. It's going to happen to the companies that are digital. It's going to make them better. So if you're not digital, you're going to get left behind with the revolution of AI. Lastly, let's collaborate. With your help, when I say your help, I'm talking to the industry in general. We, the innovators, the people putting on this conference, we can build technologies that will move this industry forward, make our lives better. You're the fuel for the flame of innovation, and that's all of you. This whole organization, if we work together, if we collaborate, I assure you that on the other side, tomorrow is going to be a better world. So with that, you could reach out to me at any time with any questions. Thank you very much. And back to you, Alex.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike, for your vision, because vision is important to understand where the industry goes. The main driver, as you said, is money, and money flow where it's in deals between buyers and sellers. That's Absolutely. Why the marketplaces, I think, they must become the biggest game changers to speed up transactions. Then faster transactions companies have, then more money they can make, and then less raw material actually they need if they can trade efficiently.
Right. If you think about it, there's two ways to make more money: bring in more revenue or have lower costs, or both. And I truly believe the marketplace does both. First and foremost, it will save you money, but you will be shocked at the exposure and the new trading partners you will get.